All right. And hello, everybody. It's meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I hope you're enjoying some beautiful weather across the valley. Some of us had some fog stuck around, and we're going to talk about that. Hey, are you getting enjoyment out of the warm weather, or are you ready for all this snow that people are talking about? What's the latest on that? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the fog tonight, and we're going to get started with a look at what's going on with those visibilities across the region right now. So to do that, we're going to pop on over and take a peek at what those visibility values are across the region. But first, here's a look at that satellite loop, and what you're going to notice, just a few high clouds streaming overhead. But do you see this area here stretching up into portions of northwest Minnesota? Some fog, low clouds that have been sticking around throughout the day. Now, when we factor in those visibility values across the region that we see up by Langdon and out here in that Cooperstown area, that's a quarter-mile visibility showing up there. And as we go up toward Langdon and that Highway 5 corridor, we're seeing some tricky visibilities in and along that region. Hey, does our graphics confirm this when we take a look at the DOT pages? And this is the power of HutchesWeather.com. As, of course, my brand new app. You can search Hutch's Weather in the App Store today. You head on over to the OK Tire Store Road Report right up above me here. And when you get to that, you can see this. Now, make sure you turn on those cameras. We'll go up to these areas of concern, and we'll see if there's actually some fog up there to be concerned about. Let's get close to that Langdon zone, and by golly, you betcha, we have some haze and fog as temperatures fall. This could exacerbate even a little bit more. So some fog problems up there in the north. Now, as we take a peek elsewhere in and around the Cooperstown area, are we still seeing it in that zone? So as we sneak down towards Devil's Lake, what's in your area? Oh, it looks like things are really nice there. In fact, a beautiful setting sun. Now, as we go out towards Emerado on Highway 2, do we have some fog? Yeah, it looks like some haze in the area for sure, and some spots where we could be getting some fog. Now down a little bit closer to Cooperstown, and look at this mess down here. Those skies are a little bit on the froggy side indeed. And so slow it down, make sure those headlights are on out there, and be prepared for some decreased visibility in spots. And that's what's going on. Now, when we take a look at what else is going on across the region and nation right now, here's a look at the radar. And right now we're enjoying very quiet weather for the most part up here. Check it out. Now, as we take a peek, we have some showers of rain down in South Dakota, Nebraska border, gusty winds moving out of eastern Wyoming. Snow hit big time in the mountains of portions of California out there. We still have a very moist flow of air making its way in, and it's kicking off a few thunder showers out in portions of northern Nevada. Now, as we look out toward the Gulf, we're seeing a few showers, but look at this, some snow reports anywhere from 2 to 4 inches in the New England states, and that really is about it as we're enjoying some mild temperatures across our region. How mild are they? Let's take a look at these 24-hour temperature changes, and anywhere you see red, we've had some very nice warm-up taking place. Big time cool down in Kentucky all the way up into western Pennsylvania as we've headed through the day. Now, how much a magnitude is this warm up over what we saw yesterday? Not a huge difference here in the valley because we did enjoy some 30s then as well, but we're going on the up and up. And here is something to keep in mind. Where the warmer air was today as we take a look at our high temperatures today, thanks to my friends over the North Dakota Agricultural Weather Network. You see this line here? That's a freezing line. Above it in the blue, those temperatures were at or below freezing for the day today. Much of northern Minnesota, the northern Red River Valley, and sneaking down towards Fargo, but Fargo managing temperatures that were in the mid-30s today, melting a little bit of snow, but warming spirits. Now, this line, if you follow it here, and then we take a look at another product that I have planned for us to take a look at if we can. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. This is the snowpack analyzed by the snow depth on the ground daily by those that watch snow over at the Office of Winter Predictions. So let me go effort to pull this up for us here, and what you're going to see is right along that boundary where we have those warmer temperatures, not as much to no snowpack on the ground. Now we have light blue colors illustrating areas with low amounts of snow, upwards of 1 inch or 2, and then higher amounts in the darker blue shades up there. So we can see all of western parts of the Dakotas, most of South Dakota and southern Minnesota, pretty low on the snowpack quantity out there, matching up with where the highs were. Now this will impact our forecast because, first of all, where we have the snowpack on the ground in the Devil's Lake Basin, and we have moist flow over the top of it and a little bit of evaporation throughout the day, we're going to have those fog problems in the area. So now we've looked at the fog, let's take a look at that fog forecast, shall we? Yeah, let's do it. We're going to look at the hour-by-hour details while I load this up here. This is a look at the fog. So the colors that you're going to see showing up here on this particular model will show us where the fog is expected to go from now and into the day tomorrow. And you'll see it is going to be a little bit of a pesky problem as we do maneuver through the 24-hour period. So focusing on that first. The fog, whoop, this isn't fog. Let me see, what am I doing? That's smoke. We don't want smoke. I got to look a little bit closer. Okay, so this is visibility and how far you can see. In these pink areas here is where we have the lower visibilities that are down near 1/10 to 1/4 of a mile, and it matches up pretty good with what we're seeing right now. As we set this into motion and we go through the overnight hours, notice that it focuses mainly in northeast parts of North Dakota where it is now, and a little bit of patchy fog also possible out there across parts of northern Minnesota. Now, as we go out into the morning hours, here's a look at that daybreak time frame, and notice that we'll have northwest Minnesota, that Lake of the Woods area having the best chance in pink here, where we'll see some fog, and not far from Fargo Moorhead, it is going to be a possibility. So morning fog could slow your commute first thing in the morning and as we go into the forecast period. Now let's see if we can go into how long is this fog, I should say, going to last into the day tomorrow, and where does it go? As we go from the morning hours through noon and midday, we'll see a nice breaking of the fog across much of Minnesota. Not a lot of wind out there, but we could have some places that have pesky, patchy fog out there as we do go through the day. I hear your questions, I hear your comments coming in, and we're going to get to those here in just a minute. Thanks for making Hutch's Weather interactive. Thanks for making it a part of your day, and I sure appreciate all of the sharing of stars and support right here as we go through. So I'm going to throw a heart down here. If you like what you're seeing on Hutch's Weather, make sure you like the comments and interact and invite your friends by tagging them in posts, and that sure does help Hutch's message get across. That's your fog forecast, but what about the 7-day forecast? This is what we're starting to hear rumbles of, what we know and what we don't know. Let's get right to the details. Number one, fog in the morning as we go into Thursday across much of the region. I showed you where 39 for Fargo's high temperature after starting out in the mid-20s. Now, look at these orange days here, and those are all nice and warm. I've colored them orange because we're about doubling up on our temperature, average temperature for this time of the year. So instead of low 20s, we're talking mid to upper 40s. There could be several areas out to the west of Fargo that see 50+ degrees that have very little snow on the ground. That plays a huge part in this. Okay, so if you're in an area out there in western Stutsman County, say you're maxing and relaxing in Medina. If you're in Medina or if you're in Pingree, you know what? Some of these areas have a little bit of snow, but once you start seeing those black fields start to show up, that sun is getting more potent, and that's going to help your temperatures rise to warmer levels than what you're seeing here out to the west of Fargo. But nonetheless, Saturday and Sunday look delightful. We'll kiss 50 degrees here as we do a little more kissing on Valentine's Day. Oh, okay. And then as we get out into next week, looking like 41 degrees, increase in clouds. Can't rule out a spit or a sprinkle here or there as we go into Tuesday. But notice Wednesday, I have half of it red. Models have been advertising for some time, somewhere between the 17th and 21st, that we're going to have a big storm system. Well, I got to tell you what, they have been advertising this, but it's been on again, off again, and we've talked about my confidence level in this. We're going to talk about that right now. What is the very latest and what does Hutch know? Let's start with a look at the snowfall. This is a look at the model comparison of the American, the European, and the Canadian model, and the position of the low pressure system or storm as we go into the 18th. So that would be basically on Wednesday, and what you're noticing is one model out here, the American, has the low way out to the west, and it has some snow showers here in the valley. It doesn't look like a big deal on that particular run. The European model now, for the second straight day, showing a more potent system along northern North Dakota and southern Manitoba, and heavy chances of snow with these darker blues illustrated here. Now, also some pretty stout winds. Can you make a look at these isobars on here? I know they're small, but the point is that we can have some very gusty winds concurrent or at the same time as the snowfall is going to take place. Out on this side of the storm, we have warm flow. We're going to get rain before it gets going in some spots, and then that's going to lift north, and then there could be some snow. A lot can change. There's a lot of dynamics here that these models don't have a grasp on quite yet, so we cannot do things like depict the exact track of the storm. We cannot do things like depict the exact timing of the storm. But here's what I'm starting to notice. The Canadian model also showing a more concentrated area of snow and some wind up in parts of the northern half of North Dakota, northern Minnesota, and out in the western Dakotas with the location of the snow. What does Hutch believe? Let me talk to you a little bit more about this snow. These are snapshots of one time, noon on the 18th. This shows us where the storms are located, the center of low pressure here, center of low pressure out in the western Dakotas, and on this model, it's a little bit more in the valley. So all in all, it gives me an idea that the models are not in agreement as of yet. That's not a surprise, but what does it mean when we take a look at another way to look at snow? Now, we can compare a lot of models and the snowfall amounts too. This is something to take note of. On the American model, you see here's South Dakota, here's North Dakota, Fargo and Grand Forks, and we see some narrow bands of heavier snow. And look at this, northern Wisconsin. Look at this, up there near on the I-35 corridor up north of the Twin Cities. Gotcha. The European model, whoa, it's way different. Now, there is similarities into the heavier band, but look at that peach color. What does that mean? Well, if you were to have microscopic vision, you'll see some of the numbers on this are advertising 15 to 20 inches of snow. Okay, that means snowblower type snow. Then there's the Canadian model, also showing the heaviest snow to the north, heaviest snow to the north, heaviest snow to the north. 3 models, heaviest banding of snow likely to the north, although the American model now is hitching onto something off to the east. These are, again, the snapshot snowfall amounts by Thursday, February 20th after this system moves through. And get this, there's a second system coming on the 21st. So there's going to be multiple waves of storms, 3 separate systems the way it looks to me. One on around the 18th that lasts into the 19th. Another one that starts on the 20th and lasts into the 21st, and possibly another one on the 24th. All 3 taking aim on the northern plains here, at least in some respects. Some of them substantial. We're not going to look at those next storms. We're just focusing on one at a time here. This is another way to look. This is called an average of several model runs of the Europe. Not day after day and what the average amounts are. This is all done in one day, and we run the model a dozen times, 24 times, but we put different starting points for some values. We introduce errors into the model, and then we look at how much snow we'll get and where. Now, if we look at these numbers are not a forecast. And notice they're significantly lower than what the Euro was saying. Remember, I said if you could see with X-ray vision, you would have noticed that there were some 20 to 24 inch totals up here. This says 6. Which is right, Hutch? 6? Or is it the snapshot forecast that says 24? Neither is right. Neither will be right. Now, we could have some areas with 6, but we could also have some areas with over a foot of snow. So let's keep that in mind. But it does show that running the European model a number of times by introducing errors and giving us an average is showing Interstate 94 and points north with impactful snowfall combined with wind. Now, let's take a look at all kinds of different models, not just the European models average, but let's lump all the models, the Canadian, the European, the American, several different models. And this is a look at this model average. Very similar. I-94, points north, significant snow. These amounts, we can't use them. Here's Hutch's hunch, and I want you to tell me, hey, Brad says, bring it on. I know your area, if you're still in that James River Valley, Brad, that snowfall has been missing your area a little bit here and there. And I know that you need some in the reservoir up there to get things going. So yes, I know that a lot of you. So I want you to answer to me in the comments below. Do you think and are you happy about snow in the forecast? Here are the concerns that I have. These are legitimate concerns at this stage. There will be changes to the forecast. There will be areas in our region here that get zippo, nothing. There'll be other areas that get whacked. And it's a Colorado low style system, and those have the most frequent potential to bring 1 foot snowstorms or more. We don't get those all the time, but when we do, it's usually a Colorado low, and it's usually a Colorado low that's moving through in a rather slow fashion. This is meeting those criteria as we go through. Now, if you want, I will go over the hour by hour and show you one of the models. I don't think it's useless at this point because here are my concerns. As we go into the middle of next week into Thursday, we could have travel impacts. We could also have the impacts of potential for wind and snow combining to make some pretty stormy conditions across the region. Hi, Argyle Dragon. Have you seen any northern lights? Comment and let us all know on my YouTube channel right now, and let us know if you've seen the northern lights the last couple of days. We've had some elevated KP indices, as I'm sure you're well aware of, but would like to hear. 6 to 7? 6, 7? Which is it? 6 or 7, it says. And yes, you've seen the northern lights. Good. So if you're wondering, search up Argyle Dragon on YouTube and you can watch their live camera feed of those northern lights. It's a great place. And they're located, oddly enough, I found out, in Argyle. I guess that might be why they call it the Argyle Dragon. I digress. Getting back to this. What else do we know? It's livestock season, okay? So there are a lot of ag producers out there that may have or may be expecting in the next short term some calving to go on. Maybe you have some foals coming out and you're expecting that. There could be enough wind and snow with this where this system will bring you some concerns. So I would, if I had those, oh no, not the 6-7, says Brian. If I had that situation going on and I wanted to protect livestock, I'd start watching this one pretty closely. And any of these areas, say along Highway 2 and points north right now, look to be a better chance at seeing very significant snowfall totals and wind. And some areas could see a foot or more. And we'll just leave it at that. There is potential for graphics that I can show you that show the chance of 4 or more inches is 30% or 40%. Those have value, but I think these have value too in showing the magnitude or the potential. So there are several times when these models overblow it, and I've mentioned that before. The aerial coverage, if we go back to this view here, of this huge area of peach and red that you see here, almost never do we see an area that is that huge that gets a foot or more of snow. And that's not what's going to happen, but we could certainly have a narrow band that gets whacked with some very heavy snow. And also we could have a narrow band that gets a lot of wind concurrent with that snow. So we'll keep you posted is the moral of the story. And now a quick forecast summary for tonight and your questions coming up right here on Hutch's Live. Let's go ahead and take a look. South winds as we start the day, but nothing too ripping. 2 to 10 miles per hour. The hairdo can handle it. You know what I'm saying? You're okay with only 1.5 pumps of hairspray as you head out the door. 18 in the morning up in the Grand Forks area with patchy fog, more likely up north as we start the day, but the Red River Valley could see some too. We already have it settling into the Highway 200 corridor right now in Cooperstown. So that's a look at temperatures. Almost all of us in the 20s, a few teens up there in that Bottineau area, Belcourt area. As we look into the Arrowhead of Minnesota, some single digits out there as high pressure moves off to the east. So could be fog in northwest Minnesota and the Red River Valley as we go through the forecast period for your morning time frame. And then in the afternoon, check it. Oh, we're going to have a light west wind, 2 to 12 miles per hour. Look at the heat and look at the area. You can almost draw the line here. Okay, you can draw the line with where that snowpack is, and north of it, we're going to be stuck in the 30s. It's going to be a little bit more of a chance of having some pesky fog in these areas because of that snowpack, kind of keeping your temperatures cool. We evaporate a little water into the air, and poof, we have a cloud. Okay, and that cloud kind of low to the ground, we call that fog. Okay, so watch out for that. Pesky fog in patches throughout your Thursday. The warm-up does begin in Fargo Moorhead. 39 will be just fine. You know what I'm saying? As we look down in Fergus Falls, 37 will feel like heaven, but how about 50? Flipping a 50 burger in Oaks, that isn't bad for this time of the year. We like that. Minneapolis is right on that fine line too. Anywhere along and north of I-94, we're going to have more 30s than 40s, but down to the south, you betcha. If you're down there in Rochester or all the way out towards, well, southwest portions of Minnesota, you can expect temperatures a little closer to flipping a 50 burger. And that's the way Hutch sees it. Let me see, did we go over all these? Yeah, we did. Okay, now it's time for your questions on the snowfall forecast. So we looked at snapshot forecasts from different models. We looked at the model averages, where we take one model, let it run a bunch of times and show you that average. And is that more useful or less useful? No, I don't think so. I think all of them give us valuable information. And it's not just what the models say today that's always important, but their trend over the last few days. And all of them have done some gear shifting with this one, which tells me there's no real good grasp on it. Brian says, I think it's too warm too soon. Let's get going. Thank you, Dorothy, for watching. Saw hundreds of geese flying between Fort Yates and Selby. Thanks for the report on that. It's goose season. The whole herd of geese was out there, huh? What's up, Hutch's Weather, says Deb. Good to have you on board in Fargo, Moorhead. Thank you much, Argyle Dragon, for watching, and thanks for your input on those northern lights. I'll have to grab my fog hat. Oh, yeah, you got to get the fog hat going on. I see what you did there, because there's fog in the forecast, and fog hat is a hat you wear in fog or a band you enjoy. All right, so I'm watching from Grand Forks. It's great to have you on, FJ. Thank you. It says, if we get hit by a storm about a week from now, how high of winds will we see? I'm seeing 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts with the wind, depending on the model that is showing. But if that low does track closer through North Dakota, the winds will be stronger than if a couple of days ago it was showing it moving through South Dakota. Then we won't have as strong of wind the way it looks. So keep that in mind. Someone said Minnesota could expect to see 70s on the 17th. What part of Minnesota will see 70s on the 17th? That is a wonderful question, and let's see who asked that one. That would be the Argyle Dragon. I've got just a model for you here, but I like to use the European model when it comes to that, and we're going to use a close-up view of our region, and I got to do a little switcheroo, so please bear with me while I'm loading up the correct content to answer your question in real time. I like this. I love being able to answer questions that you have because it connects you and I together in a way that I just couldn't do back in the days when there was a television screen in between us. It gets a little harder. These colors represent temperatures from the European model. Now, as we go through Thursday, that's this Thursday, we see that line of warmth going on. Okay, then as we head into Friday, whoopsies, let me get one that goes out a little farther. This one is just still fixing to come in. Okay, let's go. I'm having some difficulties with my mice and my keyboards here. Okay, there's the line of that no snow versus snow north and east of it, but look at it extend as we get into Friday. Now, these are some 60s starting to pop their way into the region, and that's on Friday of this week. The warmest day that I saw on the 7-day forecast for Fargo looks to be as we go into Saturday and Sunday. You see, that's almost a 50 burger. Kissing 50 like Galileo dropped an orange. Okay, now as you take a look at this, look at southern parts of Minnesota on sunny Sunday with the temperatures in the 60s here. That's what the European model is saying. Now, there are some areas that are pretty snow-free down here. That's going to make a difference. And look at down on the South Dakota-Nebraska border. Things there are getting mighty toasty. In fact, you might want to get the cleats out and start practicing some baseball outside, right? Monday, do we get better? No. A little burp of cold air makes its way right out of Quebec, and as that happens, we're going to have some, well, a little colder, cooler flow. Now, there was a brief pickup back up into that 60-degree range as we go through Wednesday. Here's that storm coming on the 18th. South winds, nice steady south flow, scattered showers, dare I say a rumble of thunder. It could happen. And on this boundary, when we have temperatures close to 65 and 0 up here, that's about a carry the one. That's about a 60-degree difference in temperatures over a short area. There's going to be wind in this situation because temperature differences create pressure differences, create wind, and that's what causes it. Then the northwest winds come through and rock the Kashba, cooling things off in the lower atmosphere so that if our precipitation is falling in the Fargo area, it begins changing over to snow as we head into our Thursday morning. So the better chance on this particular model is for that. And then our chances of anything too warm go away as this colder air and snow sets in and multiple rounds of snow. So I don't see a 70 burger flipping on the European model, and that's the model I prefer to use when we're talking that far out. So I'll put more weight into that than I put into any other model. Plus my knowledge of the region says our areas that are snow-free, yes, we could have maybe near the Iowa border a couple of communities that really get close to 70, but I wouldn't put a lot of weight in that as of right yet. And did that groundhog mess up again? Yeah, it looks like it. 6 more weeks of winter. Heck, it might be 12 more weeks of winter if we get deep snow around here. Sorry, folks, did I say that? Okay, Argyle Dragon, thanks again. Dorothy says, no northern lights, but lots of geese. Thanks for your input on that. How about Brad and Phoenix? Hey, Hutch, this February warm-up pushing temps 15 to 20 degrees above normal across the northern plains. How concerned should we be about an ice jam or flooding in our region as those rivers are flowing through? Well, we could have some problems on our area rivers as we see a quick warm up. The problem is going to be is that we don't have a lot of snowpack to add content into those rivers. So when we get a lot of melt along with a lot of water going into them, that can help break up the ice. You know what else can do it is some of these windy storms can help break up the ice. So while log jams or ice jams are a possibility, say out on that Missouri River Valley, one thing that we can look at with that is going to be as it happens, and you can look at this too with me or request it, it's a visible satellite. During the day, anywhere we have iced up water bodies, you're going to see these big lakes in Minnesota show up as white, okay? That means they're covered in ice or snow. Lake Sakakawea is the big body of water that matters when it comes to ice jams as we go in through. Usually we start seeing the white disappear from our southern lakes first, and then it migrates north as we get farther and deeper into March. The ice starts to melt in our northern communities as well. That's a wonderful question. There can be smaller impacts on smaller rivers with regard to this, but we really have not a lot of snow melt to add to the equation. And because these huge river valleys are reservoirs, that includes the James River, that includes the Missouri River, that includes the Jellystone River out there in Montana where Hutch grew up on the banks of the Yellowstone River in Billings, Montana. They all have some controlling dams along them to release the water a little bit more slowly, hold them back until the summer, and that's what the reservoir system is there. Great question, but I think it'd be more of a problem in my experience if we have a lot more snowpack rushing in as meltwater from our region. Thank you for the question, Brad. That was a cool one. Hi from Rotan. Good to have you on, Dean. Thanks for joining. Clint Moe says, howdy, hey Hutch, how can I buy the water gauge? All right, so sitting right here, you got it. It says, finally, you asked for it. Are you going to have rain gauges? You know, we're getting into the spring season. This is a quality rain gauge. It comes with all the parts that you need to measure everything down to 1/100th of an inch. And let's say you're in agriculture with fields that you farm and they're miles and miles apart. Well, it's pretty easy to place one of these at each location. Now, this comes with a funnel. The funnel funnels the rain in there, but in the winter season, you take the funnel out and you leave it out there like this with no core in it. And you can measure the snow, but more so, let's say you haven't gone out and checked that field for a week. You can bring this whole sucker back into the house and let it thaw. And then you pour that baby into here. Pardon me while I do an experiment for you. And then you pour that right into the middle of the funnel here. And then once you get that, I'm opening this one up because I need a new rain gauge too. One that says Hutch's Weather. Makes it more gooder. Okay, so this is that center cone. You can go to hutchesweather.com. You can go to my app and hit the shop button. You will see these on the top of the page. You click the link and you can order these. Now, this measures everything to the nearest 100th. This holds a lot more than 1 inch of precipitation though. So you go and you melt all your snowpack that's in this in your field A, and then you put the funnel on here and you push a couple of keys you're not supposed to, and you pour this in, you fill up this center core, that's 1 inch. You water the plants, and then you keep pulling over, and you can tell how much liquid moisture equivalent was in your snow. Sometimes we don't give two hoots about how much snow is on the ground. We just want to know what kind of content is melting into our fields and our waterways. And this is the unit to do it. It comes with the mounting gear and it comes with the inner core, and then in the winter Hutch likes to take the whole inside out and just leave this outside for measuring liquid content of our snowfall that we have. So again, you can head to hutchesweather.com. Thank you so very much for asking. Here's a look at my website. If you're on my website, right on this top menu bar, you'll see shop. So if we click on that together, you're going to see right at the top of the page here, when we click shop, you're going to see, oh, there's all these great things that you can wear if you buy, and that's fantastic. Anyone who orders thank you. You're helping support Hutch's Weather. We got great sweatshirts, we've got hoodies, we've got beanies, we've got cups, we've got water bottles, you name it. We've even got some Pedro gear here. And we use some of our favorite Hutchisms this time of the year. Yes, next week we could have some travel trouble. Make sure that you have your travel trouble jersey on hand for that. Hey, we could also have some shovel trouble. And of course we've got the shovel trouble graphic for that one there. But right at the top of the page, you'll see 14-inch precision rain gauge, snow brush and ice scraper combo, and the 42-inch telescoping umbrella. That'll come in a little bit more handy as we get into the wet season here. So thank you very much. Brad got your shirts. Thank you so much for your order. Now let's go to my Facebook friends here. Hi, everybody, for joining on Facebook. And I heard those stars going off like crazy. That's another way to support Hutch. And you do send those stars, and I do appreciate that very much. But if you want to take something home, consider heading over to Hutch's shop here. Get you something to be sent to you. You can order different sizes, colors, and everything right there on hutchesweather.com or my app. If you have that, there's a button or tile on the app you click, boom, shakalaka, you're right there. Thanks, Deborah Specht, for your sharing of support through stars on Facebook. It says, I'd love to challenge someone to a star challenge. Well, how about that? I missed that. You said that a couple minutes ago, so my apologies for that, but I was busy trying to explain this snow system. Mary says, feels like spring already. I know. The number of people I run into with smiles on their face when the weather's like this, it must be what it's going to be like that great day after the Vikings win the Super Bowl. No matter where you go in this region, everybody's going to have a smile. Brad, good to have you on board. Thank you, Deborah, again for your stars. Oh, no, not the 6, 7. Deborah says better than 10 to 12 inches. That's for sure. Yeah, exactly. I like rain. It's easier to shovel. That's my take on it. Thank you much for hitting hearts over there. I see over here having a heart party. Thank you very much for making Hutch's Weather something that you appreciate. Brian says, Hutch, is such a blessing to have you around. Thank you very much, Brian. And where are you? Wolf Lake, Minnesota? Is that right? Thank you much. If you have questions, let me know. Mary says, I agree with you, Brian. Thank you much, Mary. I appreciate that. Kelly, thank you for sharing stars with Hutch. Logan, thank you much. Well, Brad, he just dropped a little donation right here on my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, head over to YouTube and search Hutch's Weather 24/7. Find my channel, hit subscribe. We're over 10,000 strong on that channel, and I want to keep it growing. And to let you know, we're going to be having some fun on that YouTube channel together as well. So fun on Facebook, fun on YouTube. When the weather is when it matters most, I'm here for all of you, including the app. So thank you so much. Shirley, hello from Shirley. Hi, Shirley. Surely You Jest. Isn't that in a movie somewhere? I think I know that movie. Clayton says, I keep missing. If you missed the start, the beauty is you can go back to my Facebook page, my app, and this will be up for the rest of the evening here for you to check out just a little later. Great to have you on here again, Hutch. Stacy says, guess I'll need to gas up my plow truck next week, and it's about that time, you know. We've had a little more plowing to do, it seems, in many of our areas, and thanks to the wind, we just have to keep doing it over and over. Psalm says, on the YouTube, I told them you could leave the weather gauge out in the winter, and someone said no. And I said, yes, thanks for answering that. Here's the problem. In the center one, if you leave this out in the winter, sometimes you'll get a crack in this because ice expands when it freezes. I've never seen these destroyed yet, but I bet if it was completely full of water, it would possibly crack it. So I've had to repair one of these inner or inside tubes before, but you know what? If you have a broken part on one of these, there are replacements, and I can hook you up with those if you have a rain gauge such as this to get the replacement parts that you need as well. So thanks for shopping Hutch's Weather to all of you. I sure appreciate each and every one of you. And again, just a quick review of the forecast. 7-day and the next several days, we're going to be kissing 40 to 50 degrees on the weekend. Lovely weather for your lovely date on your Valentine's Day. After that, we're pushing temperatures near 40. Red on the forecast here means I'm concerned about the weather going into Wednesday night and Thursday. A storm system could be enveloping western parts of North Dakota and parts of Manitoba and northern North Dakota on Wednesday. And our better chance comes Wednesday night into Thursday here in Fargo, the way the European model is painting the picture of that. That's a look at your forecast overnight tonight. We're going to have have some areas of fog. Right now, those are set up right here in the Northern Valley. That will spread south quite possibly and east as we go through the day tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Fog, warm, snow. All right, thanks for watching. Remember, if you download my brand new weather app, you can always get the latest information right on your mobile device. And the weather app has data on there. I call it one-stop shopping. It's wonderful because you can get information that you need anywhere, anytime. So let's take a look at the old weather app here and see if I can find it. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, so there's the weather app, and now when you click right here on the app button, I did want to show you this. You can set up, we've made some fixes. Some of you have called and said, Hutch, it seems like this data is off or that data is off. Then we've done a new build on this thing, so there are some fixes for you. And if you put a widget on your home screen, those wind chill values should now be fixed. And if it hasn't downloaded to your phone yet, that should be taken care of. So there's more details coming here on some new fixes. But on the app, you got the road report here. No matter where you go or when you're there, this is very handy this time of the year to get the latest road report information in our entire region. You can click on North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, Iowa, Colorado. You got Wisconsin because you asked for it, Wisconsin. It's here for you. Montana, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan also included. On all of this gets you the latest in road conditions across our region. So you can always check this for the latest there. My latest video, now we're live. You can actually watch me right on your mobile device right there. Now, if you scroll down a little bit farther on the home screen, and to get to the home screen, you can go up to this little hamburger menu in the upper left-hand corner, hit on home, or just swipe off yourself to the right there. Now, we got your weather alerts going on here that show you where things are happening. You can get snow reports across the nation today. You can upload your photos and videos of weather going on in your area up to our platform here, so I can share them with everybody else, even during a broadcast like right now. You can also get information on signing up to be a Hutch's Weather Kid. Can't wait to introduce you to this week's Hutch's Weather Kid. That'll be fun. Big time trip to Norway. Hutch is going on. That's August, and it's the 16th through the 26th. And I want you to come along with me. You can find out all the information you need right here, including contacts to my friends over at Brecky Tours and Travel. The itinerary is here. There's information about the financial commitment here, and there's contact information so you can call to ask any questions that you have. Also, there's a link to a webinar that we held here in the last couple of weeks that answer a ton of questions, and actually you get to see more details about the trip to Norway. Won't you come? It's going to be a lot of fun. Hutch's How-Tos. What's that? This is really cool. You can click on this, and I've made a few videos about some best practices for using this app. It's unlike any other app because all of the information here is at your fingertips. And not only that, this is called the Radar Plus. Why did Hutch pick that? Because it does more than just show you the radar. If you go up here to where it says National Radar, you can click on that puppy and change it to plot other data. That can include anything from power outages, very important with stormy weather coming our way. You can look at the future radar by clicking at that right here, and it will take that radar out 24 hours and show you where it's going. Any app, I don't care which one it is, they're all going to pick one model or the other to show you, and they might say ours is the best. Well, folks, there's no one model that gets it right every single time. This one does really well, and it gives you an idea of where the storm is now and where it's moving, and that can be valuable information. You can even plot forecast snow accumulation on the app. You can overlay things like your weather alerts across the nation, no matter where you're traveling. You just click on it, turn on the overlay for that. Lightning, if you want to see lightning. And if you're looking at tropical weather, you can even plot the spaghetti plots. And oh, how about earthquakes? Do you want to know where there were earthquakes today? Now we can go back to our radar and go ahead and pull out on that map. And what you're going to notice as you do, I might have to use my finger to pull out. There we go. Let's zoom out, and there you go. Now we can take a look, and all of these green circles out here is where we had some tremors today, okay? There's some lightning going on out there, as I showed you earlier, north of Las Vegas in northern Nevada. That's taking place out there. We have winter storm warnings on the border with Colorado and Wyoming, and winter weather advisories out west of Colorado Springs and Denver. And if you allow Hutch's Weather app to track your location even when you're not using the app, which is what I recommend, then it's going to alert you even when you're traveling this way or this way or this way or this way, and you travel out of your home area, it's going to let you know where and when the warnings are. And so if you travel into a tornado warning, you'll know about it. And that's power. And it helps you make important decisions no matter where you are. All right, I think we've covered all your questions. Thank you so very much. You have a wonderful evening. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thanks for your follows. Thanks for your likes. Thanks for your shares. Thanks for taking friends. Thanks for shopping in my shop. Thanks for making Hutch a part of your day. You've made me smile today, and we'll talk again very soon. For now, that's all we got.
Guess what? I'm heading to Norway with my friend Froda, and we want you to come along with us. It's August 16th through the 26th of this year. Froda, where are we going to see?
Well, first of all, we're going to the capital of Norway in Oslo. Then after that, go over the mountains to Flum, Bergen, Molde, and Trondheim.
So much to see in between, and lutefisk included, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, you can head over to my website today or my app and find out more information, or call our friends at Brecky Tour and Travel today.
This has been a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Wait, you forgot the new app. You're right, I did. Don't forget to download our new app. Oh, now let's rock. Thanks for watching Hutch's weather.